Hello everyone, this is G Wiz here. I'm going to be doing a review on the Central Pneumatic 21 gallon cast iron air compressor that you can get from a Harbor Freights. So let's take a look at what it says on the box here. So it's got 125 working PSI, 2.5 horsepower and 4.7 SCFM, 5.8 SCFM on lower PSI, and a 3.5, no, that's 93, a little bit, 93.5 sound level on 120 volts. So I didn't really have a problem with the sound. I wouldn't do it at nighttime, but some things I want to say about it is you know, it allowed me to paint a fence. But even though it says, you know, it's really good for like, you know, hobby spray painting. Yeah, I mean, for painting, it'd probably be better, honestly, for like changing tires. When the problems that I had when using this was the motor here. What happens is, as it fills up with air, once it gets too high in pressure, the whole motor stops. And you have to use all this air in order for it to keep going. So you'll be spray painting, for example, and it will slow down. It'll be like in cycles. So like you'll run out of air, like the motor will stop, and now you have to work with the air tank, and the air tank has to completely empty just for this to even be able to start again. So you might have issues painting every once in a while you're going through it. It's not like a consistent job, and that's the only thing that I have against it, is this thing does not start up automatically and stop automatically. It stops automatically, yeah, but like it won't restart. You'd have to like turn it on and off again. So I'm gonna like give a brief demonstration if I can. So this is off, and then you turn it on. As it fills up with air, once it gets to around 150, it stops completely, and then you have to, like, you won't be able to start this again. So you'll have a high pressure when you're using the gun, which will go great on your project. So like that will be good, but because the motor's not working at that point, once it fills up, you have to like completely empty it out and then manually turn this thing back on in order for that to work. So the jobs are a little bit sloppy, I would say. And I would imagine it would be terribly difficult to do metalworking, but you could probably do it for small projects. I wouldn't say it would be very good for working with a car. You can still probably get the job done, but you will have trouble. I'm just saying. This is better for just like around the house if you want something that'll be able to paint. See this fence back here, for a job like this, no problem. This is painting a small little like house project like that, not a problem. Painting a fence that goes around the entire house, especially when it has large gaps and you have to go in between the gaps, is very difficult. So, but here's a good pro about this is it only costs about anywhere from $150 to $200. It's very inexpensive, and for what you're getting, you know, you get a decent sized air tank. It only requires, very easy, I should say. You only need 120 volts. You don't need, you know, anything more than that. It'll take a 110. You don't need the 220 voltage. It'll say 120, so you know that's why I said 120. But you know, you don't need any like crazy high like voltage in order to be able to get it going. But I do recommend, another thing is, if you want this to work properly, you can't use weak extension cables. You must use heavy duty. It won't even start unless you use heavy duty extension cables. It has to be very thick very thick cable wire. But other than that, you know, as long as you have that ready to go. Another thing, these wheels down here, when you go to roll this thing around, may come loose on you. Right here, you have to install the wheels when you get it, and those can come loose since you are going to be running around. You may come into issues with the wheels falling off the machine. Luckily, this thing is not too super heavy. It's still fairly heavy because it's, you know, it's cast iron, and you have to install this thing. This thing wobbles a little bit, which can be very annoying since you're carrying close to 100 pounds. You know, so it's just little things like that you got to keep in mind. Make sure that you tighten the bolts on the bottom very tight. Don't use your hands. Other than that, you got, for the price, I would say, you know, it's definitely worth the 4 stars. It's definitely worth 4 stars from what it's been given. And, you know, it allowed me to paint the fence pretty well. It certainly is better than painting it by hand. Definitely better than painting by hand. And it does get the job done. So if you're new to this type of industry, I would recommend it. Try it. It might be a little bit better than the small ones, although I haven't really tried the technology from the small ones. You know, again, the engine turning off on you on the job is one of the most frustrating things that I had to deal with. Having to turn this thing on and off, again, was quite frustrating. Fairly simple to take care of. The maintenance, all you have to do is add oil here, and then you have your oil meter right here. You can see that kind of moving around a little bit. See, it's full, but yeah, I'd say it's worth the money. Get it if you want to be able to do some jobs around. And if you're going to be putting this in your car, just know that there are some challenges to putting in this car. The good news about putting it in your car is it doesn't spill. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to go over to my car real quick. Just kind of run over, and we'll see. I have a hatchback. I was able to slide this into my hatchback in order to get it done. I've also put it in this way before, so you can actually put it in this way and it will fit just fine. But, you know, it depends how you want to do it. And if you look at the towel here, when I put it down, there's no oil spills. So I'm really happy about that it has a design that doesn't spill oil. So I honestly would recommend getting this air compressor because it's cleaner than most. It may not have the most sturdy wheels, but really it's pretty good. Anything, it's my fault why the wheels were loose in the first place. Just make sure you tighten the wheels on it, you know. But the only thing is the engine turns off on you, but good product.